Shooting the shiznit, shooting the shiznit. Best little wrestling podcast in the business. Your host BT and all his guests. You'll never know who he'll have next. Shooting the shiznit, shooting the shiznit. Best little wrestling podcast in the business. Shooting the shiznit.
All right, we're live from 304 Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is an STSPod.club production. All episodes, Memphis in May, and this is the flagship show. We shoot the shiznit with somebody we've known for a long time or somebody we don't know. Now, Momma Money has made an appearance on one of our shows, but CJ has never been on our show. And let me tell y'all something. This is a first right now. Today, we have a first. It's the first time ever that we've had a mother and a son on the show that are both in the business. We've had a mother and son, but only the mother because I knew the mother and the son because he's a wrestler. But the first time both of y'all are in the business. So let's get started right here. I'm going to start with CJ. CJ, I know you grew up in the business. How is your perception of everything going on as a kid? I mean, I know I've talked to guys that's been in the business, second generation. They say that they see wrestling a lot different.
That 100%. Like, I feel like because I've been in the business since I was just a kid, like I used to take my uncles out to the ring and all that kind of stuff. So seeing it compared to how somebody who isn't a wrestler or isn't in the business, I feel like I can judge and predict what's going to happen before they can. So it's very different. It's way different than how I see somebody who's just like, oh, what's going to happen next week? And I'm just like, well, you know.
Yeah, I've been around it way too long, and sometimes I predict too much, and I sometimes just try to forget what I know and have a good time with it. I'm going to ask this question because if you're listening to this and you have no idea who the East Coast Bad Boys are, I want you to know that they are the most over guys on a local promotion in this area that I think I ever witnessed, especially in Osceola, Arkansas. 4 years, y'all. Why do y'all think, and I know y'all being in the family, but why do y'all think that they've been over for so long?
I have two words, lap dances.
Yeah, I guess
they, like, especially in Osceola, because like they'd be the ones who give the lap dances at birthday time and all of that stuff. Plus, at that time, they were the ones who was, you know, like not really teasing, but like they tease the fans and all that kind of stuff. So they were over in the aspect of they were good looking at their time.
That's what I was going to say. At the time that they came in, they were just the young, good-looking guys. They were doing the cool high-fly stuff, and they brought the new stuff to MCW, and people went crazy. And now that they're older, I mean, Harry's still kind of doing the high-fly stuff when he can. So
tell us, here's my first question to you, Momma Money. How did you meet his daddy? Were you a wrestling fan?
No, I actually was.
Look, he put his head down. So go ahead, shoot. Go ahead, we're going to shoot. So who is CJ's dad?
Obviously, CJ's dad is C-Money.
There we go. One of the East Coast Bad Boys.
Yeah, I was actually training to wrestle, and I was a manager here at MCW.
Oh wow! Who got you in then? What made you? Were you a fan? You came to the shows, or how did you get training?
I grew up watching wrestling with my dad, Channel 5. You know, Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee, the whole nine. Jerry Lawler was my hero.
And you wanted to train to be a wrestler. You saw the Osceola East Coast Bad Boys score. Yeah. Big Daddy LaFont's a big name in Osceola, Arkansas. Also, and Moondog, was Moondog still there at the time?
Yeah,
Thank
I was
God.
actually a really good friend with Moondog's kids growing up. And I hit 19 and I was just like, hey, what the heck? It looks fun. Let's try it. And Harry trained me. And then, yeah, Harry, Frankie Tucker. Yeah, they were my trainers. Frankie is the nicest, scariest person in the world to be in the ring with. Like, I don't like being picked up. And when a 6-foot man stands in front of you and says, I'm going to give you a suplex. No, you're not. But and that's how he became him.
So you met the dad, y'all got together, blah, 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 and a little East Coast bad boy was born, huh?
No.
All right.
For the longest, he thought he was going to be Little East Coast, yes.
And when did you start getting in the ring? Because I know some of the guys, you just go to the matches and that's just your life. You're going there on Friday night. Every Friday night, you're going to see your dad wrestle. Did you get in the ring before and after? And when did you start actually learning to bump and everything?
Honestly, I took my first bump at 5 years old.
Oh, that's scary.
Mama,
was you scared?
No, she wasn't
I
there.
wasn't there for that.
He was he was making his return to the ring, and so I went to the building with him so that he could train and do whatever he needed to because he was making his return. Well, he had me get in there and he showed me how to bump at 5 years old, and since then I've always said I wanted to be a professional wrestler. Which
I had one of my, I'm going to say something really quick, and you said 5 years old. I had one of my, Ed, who listens to everything we do here on STSPod.club. He reached out to me after you had, I think the match with CJ CJ Blaine, and he said, how long has CJ been working, CJ Money? And I said, why? He goes, well, he was doing, to be a rookie, he's doing some strange stuff psychology-wise, and he knows what moves are coming and all that. And I said, well, he's been working his whole damn life. And that's the way, that's what there are shitty guys that grow up and their dads are great wrestlers. We know that, David Flair. But when did you, I know you sat there, I got so many questions about growing up in the business, but growing up there and going to the matches and bumping, you said when you was 5 years old, at what age are you start understanding what they're doing, as in getting the heat on the, the bad guys getting the heat and coming back and all that kind of stuff? When did you start realizing how the actual psychology of the business?
That's a hard one because like I said, whenever I was a kid, I'd be in the locker rooms and stuff. I'd say around 12 because that's whenever I started really realizing like, oh, that's what I want to do, because I want to say, and the only reason I say 12 is because 13, I had the talk about wrestling, about training, and then 14 I started. So I really want to say I started picking up at the age of 12.
I'd say around 11 or 12 is when you really got the full understanding of what wrestling was.
Yeah, I would say.
Did you do the whole thing as a kid? Did you believe that or were you just going back in the dressing room? Were you believing at the very start of everything?
There was times where he really believed.
There was times. Like there was one time, it was at MCW. There was one time Derek King super kicked my Uncle Harry, and he starts just foaming from the mouth. And I'm just like, oh my God, is he dead? Like and then.
Okay, but that's Harry, because even when I managed him way back when, he did something in one of his matches and I didn't know he was supposed to do it. And they did this whole thing where they had EMTs come in and take him out on a stretcher.
Wow.
They didn't tell me. And like, I'm really out there like boo-hoo crying. I'm thinking he was really fucked up because he didn't tell me this was happening. So that's just Harry. Harry can sell some stuff. He can get that sympathy.
Yes. very much.
Totally. I was the first time I went to MCW2. I don't know if I managed. I think I brought my guys in. I had 2 tag teams. I think I brought my 2 tag teams in to just work the night. I was in the audience to watch, so that we could see what the crowd thought of my guys, and we got a good pop. But then when the East Coast Bad Boys came out, I was like, we drove back home, and I said, man, that's different. That's totally different than what's going on anywhere in this area. Now you had guys, in Tennessee that were over, like Derek, you said, and Stan Lee and Chris O'Neill and Christian Jake. You had guys like that were over, but in Osceola, of all places, I'm sorry, I'm not talking bad about Osceola, but I worked at the Mazzios. I ran the Mazzios at Osceola for a little bit, so I have a little bit of history of. What y'all shocked about that?
I used to love Mazzios.
It's not there anymore, right?
No.
No, great. I loved Mazzios too. I ran the one in Blytheville and the one in Osceola. I just worked there every once in a while to help them. But I came back. We got in the car and we started driving back from Osceola that night. And I said, guys, I told the baby faces, I said, guys, that's the over you want to be. And they're like, what? And I said, yes, that is what's over. All those moves they do and all the way they go into the crowd. And, you said doing the dance and everything. That reminded me of stuff that Dundee did. If you ever saw Dundee at a spot show, he would get out of the ring, sit in the old ladies' laps, and, work them at the gimmicks table and stuff like that. But they've always been real good at doing that. And so I guess it was a really great place for you learning. What about Moondog? Now, how old were you when he passed away?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I wasn't born.
Oh, you were born? Oh, wow. He's been gone a long time, hasn't he?
2003.
I just don't even realize. I have no sense of time, y'all. So,
I don't remember. I remember it. I remember it, but I don't remember exactly when it was.
I think he died in 2003, if I'm correct, because I did research on it, and he died in the ring at the Coliseum, right? Yeah.
Yes.
It was in like 2003. I forgot what month, but I think it was April of 2003. I'm really not sure.
So Moondog and LaFonce had the promotion first, right? Together, kind of?
No, initially it was just Moondog.
Just Larry, okay.
Yes.
And then LaFonce came in, and now we're not kayfabing, y'all. The East Coast guys have the promotion, right? And it's owned by them. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I mean, to me, it was just the evolution of doing that because they were so over and the fans know them. And I see the crowd, sometimes not as good as you want them, but man, I've seen some huge crowds there, people hanging from the rafters, and it's something they do that a lot of promotions miss out on is the stories that's going on. And some of them are so real. So Momma Money, what is one of the realest storylines you guys have done? Have you had to feud with your ex-husband?
No, I haven't gotten the joy of that one yet, but our realest feud so far has been me and Luke Justice.
Oh, wow. I'm a fan of Luke. Luke is the first Justices in this area were my tag team of the Riot Squad. So that's your realest. Why is it the realest?
Well, when we initially got partnered together, we were dating.
Oh, okay.
Did not end so well, but the storyline couldn't end. So we had to unfortunately remain together in the ring. And whenever it came time for us to split and I got to beat the crap out of him, that was the best thing in the world.
So I know you in real life, in your shoot job or in your shoot life, how do you explain you being part of wrestling, or is it just everybody knows because it's Osceola?
Well, majority of people just No, but in my job, it's kind of I can't
lost
say it
for
without
words.
sounding mean, okay? I am a special education teacher.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah.
So sometimes it's hard to make them understand what I do because
Thumbs up to you. I couldn't do it. I've taught school, but mine was I couldn't even teach 7th grade. They were so crazy. So I only taught high school.
I'm in high school. Those are the
I
hard
bet
ones. Kids
I
are
bet-
mean. Kids are so mean.
But it's hard for them to understand. I could see that. I
Yeah,
can
like
see
some of them don't really. They're like, "What? Why would you get in there and do that on purpose?"
Right. What about you, CJ? You going through school? Everybody, and did you go to school at Osceola in high school?
Yes.
And you're going through school. Your dad's a wrestler. By the way, he's my favorite East Coast bad boy. So I just let everybody know. I tell him that all the time. So, but maybe not.
Sorry,
Maybe
pick
he's
a better one.
But your daddy's a wrestler. What are they saying to you at school? Do they do the whole thing where they say, that's fake, right?
So here's the thing. I'm still in school. So it's even cooler now because
wow, yeah.
A lot of them kids, they know that I'm a wrestler because they've gone to shows because I just came back to Osceola. So like most of them kids, they know that I'm a wrestler and they know that. So like they've never asked me if it's fake because there was one time a kid asked me if it was fake and I gave them a leg trip on the floor and I asked them if that was fake. So they don't ask me if it's fake because like what was it whenever dad threw a fireball at me and that next Saturday I went to the show with the Band-Aid over my eye. There were some of the kids from school there and they were like, oh, your dad's this, your dad's that. I was like, oh, I'm so glad. I'm so happy.
Your dad threw a fireball on you. So.
Yes.
That isn't fake question. We don't respond well to that.
No, I don't either. I never have. I used the Lance Russell used to tell people that say what you want, but you don't know the finishes or the endings of movies, TV shows, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing. So shut your mouth. It's pretty much what he said. So, all right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the evolution of Momma Money going to Memphis Wrestling and how we started that gimmick and everything.
Don't miss Memphis Wrestling Live. Next Saturday, May 24th, meet WWE Hall of Famer Ted DiBiase at the Mid-South MegaCon in Memphis. Sunday, June 8th, former WWE Women's Champion, The Phenom Jazz, is coming to Memphis Wrestling. Sunday, June 29th, James Ellsworth returns. Saturday, July 12th, don't miss former WWE United States Champion Kalisto at Dickie Stevens Park in Little Rock. It's official, Memphis Wrestling Kids Camp returns on July 17th and 18th. Registration is now open. All tickets are on sale now. Get yours right now at memphiswrestling.tv.
All right, back with CJ Money, Momma Money. We're all episodes Memphis in May. I have to say it that way. I can't say just Memphis in May because it's copyrighted. So Memphis in May. Did I get it right? All right. So you guys are both in Memphis Wrestling. You started, CJ, you started first tagging, right, with the other CJ. How did all that happen?
Okay, so we had a show at MCW like a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
And Dustin brought Sapolsky.
Oh, Gabe. Yes.
Yeah, he brought Gabe to the show because the next day was like a scouting thing, and so he brought Gabe to the show with him and brought a few Memphis guys, whatever. So he had seen, it was me that night, it was me, my dad, it was my dad's return match because he had of his neck injury and stuff like that. So it was me, my tag partner at the time, DJ, and my dad versus Chase, Uncle David, and
Damon.
Yeah, Damon. So it was a triple threat, whatever. And Derek was there at the time. So Derek had talked to Dustin like 2 weeks after that, and Dustin was already telling me at the show, like, you know, that he'd keep an eye on me and whatever. And Derek told me like the next day, I think it was, like the next week. No, it was the next week that Dustin wanted me to come up to the next taping, and that I was terrified the whole time, because the whole time they were like, Derek kept telling me, "You're going to wrestle Aaron Roberts." And I'm like, Aaron? He's like 400 pounds. And then I get there and it's not Aaron Roberts who I'm wrestling, and I'm getting beat with a kendo stick that day. So, like, I don't know if I'd prefer being beat up by Aaron or the kendo stick, but I got there that day, met Dustin, all of that stuff, real nice. And it was a different atmosphere, definitely. But yeah, Derek's pretty much the one who made it happen.
Awesome.
much,
So,
yeah.
you know, you said you came in, you got kendo stick. You were supposed to do. I'm not fond of the word jobber, but I can use job. You came in, and why I'm asking you this is you were young. You said you're still in high school, still in school, but tell somebody that starts out at Memphis Wrestling, and you know how this happens. You start out just being usually losing, and he gets trust in you, and then he'll start using you. What would you say to somebody that thought they was too good to do something like that?
Don't let your ego get past you, because here's the thing: Memphis can give you opportunity 100%. That is a true fact. Nyx, whenever she was the women's champion for Memphis, she was going to ROH, AEW, all
SmackDown?
of that. She was, yeah, SmackDown. She was getting opportunity. So don't ever think you're too big, because just because you won't go in there and job to gun show, you could lose all of that opportunity.
I agree. People don't understand, and that was probably one of the biggest problems in this area, and has been for years, is that, for instance, say you was a superstar, the champion at Osceola, MCW champion, blah, 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 and you come and you get on TV and people think, I can't do this because I'm champion over there. That's not what it's about. Actually, Memphis Wrestling is a lot about the future, of what you're going to be doing in the future of pro wrestling, and Dustin has a lot of connections. I've known Dustin since his first match. And it proves that we got a WWE ID guy right now. So the eyes are on that TV show.
100%.
When it started tagging you with, did you know CJ Blaine?
So before, I didn't really know him, like, at all. Like, I had only first met him because me and her, they wanted her to go to a Memphis training to see what she can do before she came onto the show. So we went down there and we trained with those guys, and we did their training and all of that stuff. We went to their training, and that's where I met like CJ and Zaya and all of them. Seven and all of them. That's where I met all of them. And then not 2 months later, like, he's having his first match and he's tagging with me.
It was just like the next taping that he had his
the next
match.
taping, but it was like 2 weeks after, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think it was like 2 weeks after that training thing.
What Mama's there, your mama's there, and they know. At what time do they start thinking, hey, we're gonna and I've said this on the podcast, it's a caring character. It's one of my most favorite things that in 200 and something shows that Memphis Wrestling has done is the thing that y'all are doing. And whose idea was it?
Dustin. It was 100% Dustin's idea. He came up with that idea, I would say, like 2 months after I was in, like 2 months after. I'd say like 4 tapings after I initially came on, because he had already liked her from Osceola because she had a different gimmick and all of that. So, I'd say about 4 tapings after, he was just like, it'd be cool, if we could do this whole, your mama's boy, stuff like that. And
it was really funny when he came to me about it, because like 2 weeks prior to that, I had just had a conversation with somebody else that was like, and I was like, we need to do something together, because you never see mother and son in wrestling. You see father-daughter, father-son, but it's never mother-son. You never see that.
It's only been very few, and
it was like 2, I think, Shelton Benjamin, right?
Shelton Benjamin,
and then Buff Bagwell. Like,
I just love it. I mean, you just went right with it? You said, okay, I'll do it, kind of thing. What was the conversation like? They just came up to you and said, hey, we want you to act like Karen.
Yeah, they were just like, we just need you to be like super soccer mom. Like, he's the greatest thing in the world. Nobody's better than him. He deserves everything. And I'm like, hey, I can do that. That's like our daily conversations.
You also can't forget like what they had you doing whenever you started in Memphis. So
come on, tell me.
The first appearance on Memphis, I was Little Red Riding Hood
with Gaston. And then,
oh wow! I have to go back and watch that now.
So that was her first appearance on Memphis. She was his evil stepsister. But then like they really start. Then after
that's when I was actually Allie X.
That's whenever she was Allie X, and then she went into what? Then you did the thing with Sue Young.
Yeah, and then I was still with Gaston.
She was still with Gaston, and then I think Gaston went off, was off the show or whatever, and so they wasn't doing anything with her. Like she was just driving me to the shows. I was doing what I had to do, and then we was leaving. And then I would say it was the Rumble, right?
It was like the taping before the Rumble. They came to me about that, telling us that they wanted to do that with us.
And then the day we did the Rumble, they had us do a pre-tape, and then we did the match to finally introduce Mama Money, and that got like 15,000. That got like 15,000 views right there on YouTube. It had more than what Joe Hendry going into the Rumble.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And so they were like,
just
okay.
Me pulling him out of the curtain by his ear.
Yes. Well, the thing about it is there's so much realism. Now, there's the old thing with, and you guys know that we talked about East Coast Bad Boys kind of cross the line sometimes with some of their storylines. But it seems so real. And that's why everybody that listens to the podcast that I talk to on a regular basis, huge fans of you guys and what y'all are doing. Think the role is you're. I hate to just blow smoke up your ass all the time, but you're doing it almost perfectly. There's not much, and there's always somebody says, "BT, what would you do differently?" I don't know if I would, because the thing about you is he's at the age where this actually happens at home sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I need you to do this. I need you to do that. So my catchphrase is "Love my mama." Now I've been saying that for a long time. I heard Simon is the one that helped you add that to your gimmick. Is that true?
So Simon had come up to me at one of the tapings, and he was like, "I need you to say, I love mom," and stuff like that. He wanted me to say that, and originally I was just kind of like, I don't really want to say that, just because So it's so not something I would say on a regular basis. So it's so I was just kind of like, I don't really want to say that, but if he thinks it'll work, and then the way I sounded, it just came out naturally after that. So it was, yes,
it was actually just a nod to me, if you want to know the truth. So me and Simon's been friends for I don't know how long, and he said, he said, make sure you watch their segment this week. And I said, I always watch their segment, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, my mother absolutely loved it. So she was a big fan. She goes, he said, love my mama. And I was like, yep, I told you, listen to it. We're not going to talk about what's going to happen in the future with it, because we're kind of not in the future right now. But where do you see this going in a sense? Are we going to be able to keep it going for a long time? Do y'all think in the back of your mind, you're thinking maybe, we could, CJ's going to turn good, or we're going to be a baby face for a while, or Mama's going to be a heel against CJ. I know East Coast Bad Boys does stuff like that all the time, brother against brother and dad against son and all that. Is there anything that y'all can, let's go, don't spoil me, but do you look at stuff like that all the time?
I mean, as of right now, as well as it's perceived, I really just kind of hope we can keep it running for a while as it is.
Now, as we're recording this, I'm going to just pull the curtain back. It is before May, but we're recording before May. The last segment we saw right here, right now, was y'all using the belt on Blaine.
Yes.
So we're in that, and everybody knows what that leads to. Hopefully, I mean, I usually do, but the thing about it is, have we had our first win because some Mama money interfered? She messed up once, didn't she?
Yeah, against CJ. She did trip my leg there.
Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun to do. I'm trying to think. You actually wrestled some, and you said you trained to wrestle. Are any plans to go full-time wrestling, or are you just going to stay managing?
No, I'm training now. I mean,
okay.
Actually, I've wrestled at MCW when we have girls that come in. The hope is for them to do more with me at Memphis. Like, we're doing intergender matches, tag matches as of right now, but I'm hoping to do more eventually. And I'm definitely open for bookings. Anybody?
There you go. Reach out, Will.
Yeah,
I come with.
I'm a wrestler.
He comes with. Hey, you can DM me. We're not going to give your shoot name on here. I don't want any stalkers, by the way. You can DM me. I'll send it to her if you want Mama money and CJ money to come to your local. Great act. I'm a huge fan of you guys. I wish the best for you. I'm a mark for Mama money, so I just want you to know that. And you did a fantastic. I want you to know, CJ, your mama did a fantastic job on 5-minute time limit. She came in for about 1 minute, 1 minute and a half. All my other co-hosts are sitting here, and I say, "Here's what I need you to do." Blah 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 blah. She says, "Okay, I got it," and she left. I brought her on, and my other co-hosts are like, what the fuck is going on here? And she talked for a solid 5 minutes about you, and I couldn't even get a word in, but that's exactly, I had like 5 people message me and said, man, she nailed that. And I said, yeah, and I gave her like a minute of direction, and that's always good in the business when you get what you want at the end. So, all right, guys, I want to thank y'all for being here. We're going to do a little bit of Patreon, but not much. But you guys know, same bad time, same bad channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. And just like CJ, I love my mama.